This is the Bullseye Podcast.
And we are back. Let me tell you something. This show is getting hot. This show is so hot, it sizzles. That's right. This is Bullseye on the Bullseye Podcast, on the Bullseye Network, on the Bullseye frequency of your life. Hey, what do you know? What do we know? And there's Angelo on the other line doing something.
I'm doing something. What do you say, Bullseye?
Not much, man. You know, we're just trying to get through. We got the news today that I guess if you're a fan of Penn State football and Ohio State and Maryland and you got the old
Michigan and
you got the old you know what up to you know what, if you know what I'm talking about.
No Big Ten football. The MAC conference canceled a day earlier, and you got to believe, right, that the other four power conferences are going to follow suit. I don't see any way fathomable that they play a season. Do you?
What are you playing for when you can't compete for a national championship? You have half the teams aren't playing, so it's like forming your own league.
I don't think any of the teams will be playing when this all said and done. Who's going to be kicking off at the end of September to play college football in front of no fans?
The answer is nobody. That's
nobody. So I guess we'll just have to talk about college football seasons past instead, since we're not going to have a new one.
Yeah, I was thinking about it because when I was a child, college football was huge in my house and what we followed. And teams like Penn State with Joe Paterno, and I was a big Alabama fan because of Joe, Willie, and Namath. So I've always liked Alabama. What about you? What was your favorite college football team?
I'm actually a Tennessee fan, and I don't even know how that happened. But I've been a Tennessee Volunteers fan since probably about 1981, 1982.
Must be the colors, the orange had to be.
It's got to be some sort of color association. That's what I was thinking too, because there's no logical reason for why a guy from Central New Jersey would be a Tennessee fan.
None at all.
None whatsoever.
Well, how about this scenario? A basketball player from Harlem, two guys from New York.
Bernard King.
That's right.
And Ernie Grunfeld.
The Bernie and Ernie show. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. But yeah, Johnny Majors was the coach when I became a Tennessee fan. And it's just, they haven't been good in about 20 years. So it's been a pretty rough go.
Yeah.
For someone that likes the balls.
Johnny Majors, right, was the coach of Tennessee. So other than Peyton Manning, here's what I remember. I know Peyton Manning, Reggie White, right?
Right.
Big Tennessee guy now. After that, my old memories kind of fading. Give me some names.
Well, you got like a lot of running backs, right? Jamal Lewis went to Tennessee, right? You remember Jamal Lewis ran for 2,000 yards in the NFL. Peerless Price. He was a wide receiver at Tennessee.
I remember.
Of course, national championship quarterback T. Martin. Remember, Tennessee won the first ever BCS championship in '98 after Peyton Manning left. Right. Remember Peyton's last year, Tennessee got crushed by Nebraska. Scott Frost and Amon Green, I think it was, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, and I don't go like all the way back with Tennessee, like to the 40s or 50s or anything like that. But, I've just always been an SEC guy as well.
The Vols.
Fascinated. Yeah. But, then you got Alabama, right? And Auburn.
Well, yeah.
What's better than the Iron Bowl every year?
Yeah, absolutely. Alabama has the most championships, right, in NCAA?
Yeah, I think they have the highest amount. I think it's Alabama, and then USC or Notre Dame.
I think it's 15 altogether, 15 total. Nick Saban has how many? 5?
Yeah, 2 with LSU.
Right.
I think, right?
Well, 2 with Alabama, right? Nick Saban, right?
Right.
And Bear Bryant. What I remember always in January, the big Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, Keith Jackson, the Rose Bowl, What do you, what's your favorite Rose Bowl memory? Do you have any?
It's hard to pick out a specific Rose Bowl, but I was thinking about how it used to be that January 1st was the last day of the college season. There was no other games after that, remember? So they crammed in as many of these bowl games as they could on January 1st. And we used to have to do a lot of channel flipping, remember?
That was fun. It was actually fun.
Yeah, it was. You'd go from the Rose Bowl over to the Orange Bowl, and then the Sugar Bowl would be later on at night, right? Herschel Walker versus Dan Marino, I think it was, right? Maybe it was Dan Marino. Maybe I'm wrong. But it was definitely Pitt versus Georgia. I remember them playing in the Sugar Bowl, right? The old Orange Bowl with Miami versus Nebraska.
Right. I remember I went to the actual Orange Bowl in 72. We drove down in a Buick LeSabre from New Jersey. I got sick because of the pleather seats and the heat. I remember I was getting sick in the back seat. And we went to the Orange Bowl, and we watched John Cappelletti and the Penn State.
Wow, Penn
Lions.
State. Who did they play?
They played LSU.
Ooh, who was the big LSU player? Do you know at that time?
A.J. Dewey.
No.
Remember A.J. Dewey?
But he was at LSU in 72?
LSU, like 72 or 70. I'm thinking 72. Yes, 72.
Yeah, but maybe. He might have been a freshman then. I mean, he was like a rookie in 70.
John Cappelletti, I remember, was the star of. I could look at it.
He won a Heisman.
Yes.
Yeah, he won the Heisman.
Absolutely.
They made a movie about that.
That's right.
Right? Because he Do It for Joey, something like that. About
Do It for Joey,
his brother.
His brother.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So from what your memory is, there's rankings here. So what is the best college football team of all time? What do you think? I'll run some down for you. See if you remember any of these.
Yeah, I don't know. Army in 1945.
Very
with
good.
Doc Blanchard. Nice. And boy, I can't remember who his running mate was, but they had that all-star backfield. Doc Blanchard and Pete Dawkins, I think it was.
Wow.
The old Army team.
What about
they were good?
Army hasn't had a good team ever. All right, since Ernie Davis left, right, or something like that.
No, they had a decent team in the mid '80s.
He went to Syracuse, Ernie Davis.
Ernie Davis went to Syracuse. Yeah.
Right.
Army didn't really have anybody big in the pros, but they did have a decent team in the mid '80s. They went to a couple bowl games. They lost. They beat Illinois at the Peach Bowl, and then they lost the Sun Bowl to Alabama the year later in El Paso. Derek Thomas.
Do you think this LSU team is the greatest football team ever?
Wow, man! You know what was so great about them is that they hung 40 points on everybody every week.
Right.
It didn't matter who they played, and by like week 5 of last season, week 6, it just became obvious that LSU was going to keep doing this every single week, and by the time we started to reach the end of the year and the SEC championship and the CFP games and all that kind of stuff. My opinion was if someone can come up with more than 42 points to beat LSU, then they're going to deserve it because LSU is going to score at least that many. And they did every single game. It was amazing. Joe Burrow was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what kind of pro let's see what kind of pro he's going to be. I think he's going to be great. So.
It'll be interesting. You hope that he's great, right? It'll kind of validate everything that he did in this last year. There's nothing worse than a quarterback being so highly touted coming out of college, right? And then he goes to the pros and he's just absolutely terrible, whether it was because he doesn't have discipline or commitment. Or he was Todd Marinovich. That's a good one.
A lot of USC quarterbacks, if you think about it.
Rodney Peete.
Pete played a little bit. He played for the Lions.
Yeah, he wasn't a bust.
Sanchez, we know the story of him.
Was he a bust? I guess so, right?
No, he wasn't a bust, but he wasn't a...
he wasn't a stud.
He's like,
I don't know what you call him. Mediocre.
He was like the Kevin Moss of football. That's who he was. Remember Kevin Moss?
Yeah, I do. I have about a dozen Kevin Moss rookie cards. Still waiting for them to appreciate.
I mean, and then you have Rex Ryan putting a tattoo of him on his body. How sick is that? You put the tattoo of Mark Sanchez on your body.
He did? Oh, yeah, like the number 6, the mermaid tattoo.
I think he's a little, I don't know about him.
I don't know.
Rex, he's that was a little weird, the foot monster.
I don't know.
But it says here, Nebraska, 1971, considered the best football team. The Cornhuskers, they averaged more than 39 points a game on offense and surrendered only 8 points a game.
And they probably ran the wishbone.
Led by this name, ready for this name, Johnny Rogers.
Johnny Rogers. I was going to say, was that the Johnny Rogers team? Yeah,
right, how about 72. That? Top-ranked Cornhuskers defeated number 2 Oklahoma 35-31 on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
What some have called the game of the century. I got to go back and look at that. Why was that game so good? It was just back and forth?
Because they were both undefeated going into that game.
Right, okay.
And they were both, I think, 10-0. And remember, there was only, one bowl bid a conference back then? There was there wasn't really any secondary bowls. You only had about 15 bowl games, and that was it.
Well, yeah. They all meant something, and they all had simple names. The Peach Bowl.
The Blue Bonnet Bowl.
I used to love, that was on New Year's Eve, the Blue Bonnet Bowl.
The Blue Bonnet Bowl,
That was from the Astrodome.
Astrodome, right? Yeah, and what was the other one that was in Shreveport? The Independence Bowl.
I remember the Blue Bonnet Bowl because we'd be eating like pepperoni. You know what I mean? We'd eating like...
the Blue Bonnet Bowl. Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
The Citrus Bowl, the Florida Citrus Bowl.
Now it's like, the FedEx,
the Weed Eater, Pool and Weed Eater Bowl.
Oh, my God. The Body Armor Bowl,
Right.
So,
what was that one a few years back? The Furniture.com Bowl or something.
The Furniture.com. Here's how about this team? 72 USC. Coached by John McKay.
And I think the running back was Anthony
Davis, I think it was.
Yeah.
They finished 12-0 after blowing out Ohio State 42-17 in the Rose Bowl.
In the Rose Bowl, yeah.
In the process, they became the first team to be named number 1 in every ballot of both the coaches and the media polls. Ooh. Keith Jackson, who's forgotten more about college football than we'll ever know, said the 72 Trojans may be the best ever. Is he alive?
No, Keith Jackson passed a couple of years ago.
They get him on the show, but this is what's happening to me. They're all dead. Anybody I think would be a good interview is dead.
Well, that's because you're living in the past.
Of course.
You can't interview ghosts.
Not good. It's a good thing I don't age. That Army team you were talking about in 45.
Yeah.
Doc Blanchard and Glenn Davis.
Glenn Davis, right. Not Pete Dawkins came after.
He won the Heisman in 45. Davis won it in 46. Wow. Huh?
Colonel, they were coached by Colonel Blake, I believe was his name.
Not from MASH, Colonel Blake?
No, not that. Not that Colonel Blake.
McLean Stevenson or Harry Potter? Colonel Blake.
No.
There was still McLean Stevenson was Blake. Harry Potter was the other. Then you got, of course, Miami, right? Was that the Jimmy Johnson Miami 2001? They went 12 and was that them? I don't know. Maybe it was 12-0. Won with an average margin of victory of 34 points.
That was in
Clinton
91.
Clinton Portis is 2000.
Oh, the Portis team. Yeah, they were good. That's right. They went undefeated.
How about this name, Jeremy Shockey? Sound familiar?
Yeah, Shockey. He went to Oklahoma. No,
Miami.
He was Miami. Yeah, he's from Oklahoma. That's right.
What was his career by? It was like another 3-year career, right?
What, in the pros?
Yeah, Shockey. I mean, he was great for like 3 years, right? What happened to him?
He hung in there with the Giants for about 5 or 6 years now, and then I thought he got
New Orleans or something.
New Orleans, New Orleans, and that's where it kind of wrapped up for him.
No, he was pretty good. He was
all right.
What else we got here? It says here 47 Michigan. Then you got 47, Notre Dame. They won the undisputed national title in 47. Johnny Lujak. He's famous.
Johnny Lujak, yeah.
Right?
That is a famous name.
Oklahoma in 56. Bud Wilkinson.
Yes. He was the coach. Coach for a long time.
Yes, Bud Wilkie coached the Cardinals, too, in pro football.
Yes. Oh, they were terrible when he coached there.
And then he became a great announcer with Keith Jackson. Then he was an announcer with Keith Jackson. Then he went to the Cardinals because they figured they'd take him out of the booth. That didn't work.
Is that what happened? He went to the booth and then went to the pros?
Yes, then he went to the pros. That didn't work out.
And that was what? Right before Coryell took over in St. Louis, right?
I think that's after.
Or after.
Yeah, that's
wow.
After. Yeah.
So like 79, 78,
Boy,
before Jim Hannafin, I guess, in St. Louis. It was Bud Wilkinson.
Jim Hannafin. Remember Charlie Winters? That was another
Charlie Winter. He was he Weeb Ewbank's son-in-law?
Yes, his son-in-law.
And he coached the Jets, too. Jets and the Cardinals.
Oh, he was terrible.
Charlie Loser.
He was Weeb's son-in-law.
He was, right?
Weeb had a good look, didn't he? With the crew cut and the spikes with the white socks. I'd like to. Why were the pants always too short? That's what I never understood.
The coaches always wore those weird shorts.
Why
I don't know.
were the pants short? I didn't understand.
Something strange about that. I don't know. The most unathletic guys are the coaches, right? And they dress in like.
And then, of course, you got here 61 Alabama. Bear Bryant was on his way to becoming an Alabama institution, and the Tide won
third year there.
Their first national title under his leadership. They won 5 more with the Bear. They went 11-0 in 61, racked up 297 points, allowing only 25. Not on.
Wow. So they won like on average 28-2.
Wow. They were ranked first in the nation and concluded their season with a 10-3 victory against Arkansas.
They must have had 6 shutouts.
Wow. Who do you think was your favorite college quarterback in college when you watched?
My favorite college quarterback to watch. I mean, Flutie was a lot of fun for that year and a half, couple of years, right? When he came into his own and became the story. I still remember watching that game on Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving. I forget which it was. That Boston College game against Miami in the Orange Bowl. He was a lot of.
He was good.
He was definitely a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun in those days. But there's a lot of quarterbacks that
had
great college careers, but they couldn't make it in the pros,
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys like that. And it's funny because you try to think of like who was a great. Jim Harbaugh was a fun quarterback to watch.
Yes.
One of the first quarterbacks I remember watching was a guy named Art Schlichter.
Ohio State. Right?
Yeah, I remember that guy. He ended up going to the pros and talk about complete flop. But he had a lot of problems, right? He was also a big time gambler and got suspended a couple of times.
I remember that.
Right? Yeah, he was betting on pro games, betting on everything, and then not paying. Right? He was betting, losing, not paying the bookies, getting threatened, and then going to the FBI for help when he couldn't pay up and felt his life was threatened.
There you go.
Yeah, that was Art Schlichter. But that was one of the guys I remember. He was kind of a fun quarterback to watch. Cordell Stewart was fun to watch when he was at Colorado.
Wow, very good. Had a good career with the Steelers, right? He was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he was all right.
I don't remember him much in college.
Yeah, he was, his senior year, I remember.
Warren Moon at Washington was very good.
Yeah, I don't really remember him. But he won the Rose Bowl, right, with Washington.
Yes, he won the Rose Bowl.
In 1980.
That's right.
Yeah, in 1980.
He's one of my favorites of all time, Warren Moon.
Warren Moon was a great quarterback. He won those 5 titles in Canada before he came back to the U.S. to play for the Oilers and racked up a ton of yards. He threw for 25,000 yards before he even came to the U.S.
One of the greatest. He threw one of the best passes I've ever seen. I was thinking about with the coaches with college. The names that I remember when I was younger were Woody Hayes, Bo Schembechler.
Yeah, that was a name,
right? Now, he was big. He was George Steinbrenner's friend, Bo Schembechler. Did you You know that?
Yeah, I seem to remember that. Wasn't Bo Schembechler also at one time or other
The president of the
after
Yankees
he left?
or something?
No, Detroit Tigers. I thought it was.
I think
I thought it was.
I thought Stein
I thought it was president.
Maybe
Detroit.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, it was. It was
You're right.
Detroit. Yeah, I remember
very
Bo
good.
being.
What other memories do we
and
have?
then there was the who was the Syracuse coach, McPherson.
McPherson, I remember him.
And then there was the Auburn coach, Pat Dye. You remember that guy?
Pat Dye, yeah. Well, boy, we're leaving like a million people out. We're just like
I know we're we're all over the place. Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer. He was a really good college coach. Yeah, he was. I mean, cheated left and right. You know.
Remember they won the Super Bowl with Dallas, right? After they got rid of Jimmy Johnson, right? And the big thing was like, here comes Switzer, takes over Johnson's team, right? And here's all I remember is they win the Super Bowl, so they do the ceremonial stuff at the end, whoever it was, Jim Nance or whatever. And he looks at Jerry Jones. He goes, "We did it! And Jerry Jones looking like this guy is a fucking idiot." He was like, "What the? This guy's a rube." But
I don't really remember that.
Oh, I remember.
I don't remember that.
I remember the weirdest things.
I remember Switzer eating a hot dog on the sidelines of a game. Maybe it was the Pro Bowl. Maybe it was a preseason game. I remember them showing Switzer eating a hot dog on the sidelines. I don't remember why that sticks out.
Oh, my God. Barry Switzer.
He's one of only a couple of coaches to win in college and in the pros. Not too many guys have done that.
That team in Dallas was handed to him. That was like a hand.
Of course it was. You know, and I guess a monkey could have coached that team, and they would have won the Super Bowl. But you know, Barry was their coach, and how long did he last in Dallas? Not that long. A couple of years. 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah. They lost that playoff. They lost a playoff game at home to the Cardinals, and Switzer was gone.
Hey, are you a Rutgers football fan? I mean, you're from Georgia.
Am I a Rutgers football fan?
I hate them.
I mean, I've always followed. Yeah, well, they've always stunk, right?
I hate this.
They've always stunk.
I don't like this Greg Schiano guy. He gets on my nerves. Keep chopping.
Well, I mean, he's the only guy that's won at Rutgers.
I know. So now
he's the only guy that's won there.
He's got the leverage. But now they're not going to have a football season, so
there's no season, right? The Big Ten canceled or is about to cancel the season, so
have to wait another year.
Another year, right?
Now it's all going to be football. That's all football. It's all going to be NFL now. That's it. Nothing.
Well, they're saying that they're going to try or hope to push the college season, if it's feasible, to the spring.
College football in the spring does not work.
To try to salvage the 2020 season.
Doesn't work.
I don't know. I don't know if it does work for anybody.
Square peg, round hole.
It's probably all they've got. It's probably all they've got left to try to keep hope alive for the kids, for the program, for the boosters, for the recruits, for their television network partners, for the money. Right? They have to put up the facade that they're doing everything they can to have a season. So until the fat lady sings,
are they playing?
They're
like,
keep,
I'm watching Australian rules football. Guys beating the crap out of each other.
I love.
How come they're playing? They're playing.
I don't know. I don't know.
They're spitting on each other. You know, they're laying on each other. What happened? What happened with that?
I don't know. Maybe they got it under control over there.
Where in Australia? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Under control. We got it under control.
Australia's got it under control.
They're
playing their.
We got it under.
They're playing their rugby.
Enough. I'm trying to find some football teams here to talk about. Let's see here. Hey, here's a name, right? College, Bo Jackson, right?
He was tremendous. The closest Heisman vote in history was hard to imagine, right? Knowing how great Bo Jackson was as a two-sport star, that he was involved in the closest Heisman vote in history. Do you remember who was second?
No. Oh.
Quarterback from Iowa named Chuck Long.
Chuck Long. Did he play for the Lions? Chuck Long, Detroit Lions?
Yeah, he didn't do well, right? He washed out, but he was drafted by the Lions. And it was a debate who was going to win the Heisman. Was it going to be Bo? Was it going to be Chuck? And I think they were separated by only 4 points in the final voting tally. That's how close it was.
So what about this Trevor Lawrence now? Do you think he regrets not going into the pros? Now he's got nothing to do.
I don't know. I mean, do you think the pros are going to play? I'm not 100% sold that the NFL is going to be business as usual.
I think there's too many owners that are lean right, so to speak.
Well, I don't disagree with that, right? And there's a lot of money at stake.
Right.
So for sure, they're going to do everything they can to put the players on the field. That's completely understandable in that regard, right? They got to preserve revenue. However, the reality is how many people are on an NFL roster? You got 53 active players or whatever it is. And then you've got a bunch of practice squad guys. You've got a staff full of coaches, trainers, owners, marketing people, office. You're talking about thousands of people.
Tell me about it, man. It's a whole industry. It's a whole world. You know?
So
what are we gonna do?
Trevor Lawrence, maybe he regrets it because he's not getting paid right now. Right?
Absolutely.
Had he signed, he'd be getting paid.
This is ridiculous.
But he's young. I think this is only his junior year. So
he's got time. He has his money to make.
Right.
Hey, how about that Grand Wizard? Remember the last show you said to me? We never spoke about the Grand Wizard.
So we're going now.
We're going right to the Grand Wizard of Wrestling, Ernie Roth, right?
Ernie Roth, yeah.
Screw college football. I'm tired.
Oh, my God.
Ernie Roth, the Grand Wizard. Yes, he was.
That may be the most left turn I've ever made in a conversation in my life.
Ernie?
So what about that? How about that Grand Wizard?
I ran out of things to say about college football. I don't know what to say. I got to get an interview on this show. I mean, I just got to kill the time.
That's what you need. You kill the time.
I need an interview. I'm too busy. Anyway, the show is what it is. It's just a show about whatever, and that's the show. It's a show about whatever.
Hey man, it's stream of consciousness conversation.
Yeah, it's conversation. People are liking it. We are getting emails.
Oh, that's good.
Right.
And if we're not exactly right about something, I mean, it really doesn't matter because we're not here. Right. We're not here to try to be super accurate. We're trying to remember what sticks in our mind from back in the day. So if we've jumbled identities of players or incidences that happen on the field, I mean, it's cool if people tell us, hey, you got this wrong or that wrong.
What, college,
but I don't really.
Talk radio over the years in sports, it was always about controversies. And this.
Yeah.
Now with social media, everything is so out in the open. There's no controversy anymore. Like, there's no, hearsay. Did you hear that? Nothing.
Right.
It's just, there it is. It's
no rumors.
It's right. You can't talk about anybody. And, the good old days of talking behind people's backs. And, it's great. Now you can't do it. You get sued. Rumors, trade rumors. Do you ever hear trade? I don't hear trade rumors anymore.
You don't even hear trade. I mean, trade rumors only exist in baseball, maybe a little bit in basketball. Never in football.
Even that. It's just kind of free agency. You know what I mean? It's about who's going to sign who, and that's it. I mean, the old days of Gabe Paul putting the deals together. Chris Chambliss and Greg Nettles and the Mets, Joy Foy for Nolan Ryan. What was that trade? Nolan Ryan for Joy Foy and
Jim Fregosi.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
And Joy Foy, both of them.
Jeez. Thank goodness.
They got Foy in the deal.
I know, it's a good thing. Otherwise, they've been a complete bust.
So we went from, we're talking about college football to the Grand Wizard to Joy Foy.
That's usually when it's time to say goodnight.
Yes, it is.
when you talk about Joy Foy.
You mean that? Joe Foy?
There you go.
That means that's basic. Well, it was fun. A little college football, little Joe Foy for go-see, gay Paul action, college football. What are you gonna do?
It would be a novel show if we prepped just one time.
You got it. We got more ahead.
What would that sound like?
Can't be any worse than this one. Anyway,
No.
We'll see you next time. This is Bullseye. The best is yet to come.